Hello, YouTube. How are you doing? Today we have plugin Shootout, another one. This time it's going to be with the classic Distressor. The reason I'm doing this video is because this new one came out by Kiive Audio. Kiive, I think it's Kiive Audio. It's the Xtressor. It's part of the plugin Alliance bundle. And I just wanted to hear how it sounded. I mean, there's two good ones on the market already. Obviously, I use the UAD one. I've used the FG Stress by Slate Digital plenty of times as well before I had the UAD version of the plugin. I interchange between them. Sometimes if I'm running out of DSP on my Apollo, and obviously and then I can't use this because I'm using other plugins, I'll just go to this, and then if not, I'll use the UAD version. One that I haven't included, actually, interestingly enough, is the Arouser, which is essentially the Empirical Labs version of the Distressor, pretty much. And how we're doing it is we're just going to play around and shoot them out. It's not going to be very scientific in any way, shape, or form. I think I'm just going to leave them as is, and then try and dial in some settings. So what we're rocking is 5 on the attack, 5 on the release. We're going to do it on the drums and the vocals buses of this song. I'll play it in a second. And let me just turn these down. Let me turn all the plugins off. The only thing we have on the master is an L2 just to stop any peaks, and then leave the bass and the instruments. And then we'll do it on the drums, do it on the vocals, and then we'll do one on the entire master as like a glue compressor type of role, you know. So I'll play the song for you. So again, it's like a synth pop, synth wave type thing. You know, I love my synth wave. And then yeah, we'll get to playing around with the compressors and just having a listen to them. So yeah, here's the song. Okay, so yeah, it's taken from Epidemic Sound, so it is mixed and it is, you know, mastered and whatnot, and there's reverb and effects and stuff like that, but it's very difficult these days to get any honest stems that I can use without falling into, you know, any copyright issues. Apart from Epidemic Sound, obviously, because they do say we can use it for, you know, for commercial purposes, for YouTube and whatnot. They're licensed, so that's why I use it on this, but we can still kind of, you know, it's not exactly perfect as a comparison but you'll be able to hear, you know, the differences between them. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So this is the drums that we have. There's a bit of saturation on them. There's a bit of this there's a bit of distortion on the sound already. If you listen, there's a bit of saturation to kind of get that 80s sound across. This 80s synth pop sound. And a lot of reverb on the snares, you know, classic characteristic of that. But anyway, so let's start with the Kiive. So again, the attack's on 5, the release is on 5, 4:1 ratio. I haven't touched any of the detector high pass or the audio high pass or any of the distortion, you know, the harmonic distortion elements yet. But so it's just as it is, and this Kiive Audio version of the Distressor has the saturation and warmth kind of section here at the bottom, but I've turned that off for now. We'll kind of play around with that a little bit later, which is really cool. I'm glad they actually added this. They have a gain link, so when you turn up the volume, turn up the input to get more, you know, gain reduction, it will balance out the output, so they'll move together retrospectively. But what I don't like is that it doesn't already gain match to what the song is. So for example, I'll turn up the volume to be gain matched with the dry signal before processing, but then as soon as I turn up the input, it will change the output to what it wants, which is not very, I don't know whether it's a bug or whether it's just my plugin doing that, but it would be good for the output to kind of start its gain link, I guess, and movement from where I left it, not reset to somewhere where they, where Kiive set it as. I'll show you what I mean, right? So the gain link's off now, so obviously I'm turning the input up and down, but it's not moving. But now, look, so now it's on 6, and if I turn the gain link on and then move, because I have a better way of showing, I'll show it with the actual audio. So if you look, right, so I'll leave it the input on 2, and the plugin's on, and let's gain match it. Let's gain match the output. As close as we can anyway. Alright, that's fine. And then now if I turn gain link on, and then I want to leave the output what it is, and then link the input and output together, so when I crank up the input, the output will go down. Listen to what happens to the volume. It doesn't do it from where I left it. Listen. See how it's reduced the volume now? It didn't. Now I have to turn it back up to gain match. I don't know whether I'm doing something wrong or whether it's just like a bug, but it does reduce the volume. It doesn't leave it. It doesn't start from where I left it off. So it's just a little bit annoying. And I've got 8 times oversampling on the plugin, so just to see what that sounds like. It did sound a little bit better when compared to it being off. But yeah, let's anyway, this is my little things that I noticed off the get-go. So let's listen to how it sounds, I guess, which is the most important thing. So let's take a listen and start comparing it with the other ones. For the purposes of the for the demo, I'm leaving the gain link off. It looks like we're getting about 6 dBs of gain reduction, so let's move it on to Empirical Labs. Oh god. Alright, let's compare the two. I feel like it's a little bit, the Kiive's very dirty on the snare. If you listen to the snare specifically. It's a lot cleaner is the UAD on the snare. It's a lot muddier is the Kiive. I don't know whether that's, the distressor that they emulated is like that, or it's just a little bit of, it's messing around with the EQ a little bit. But there's like a lot of, and it just sounds dirtier in general, like there's a lot of saturation, but I've got the saturation off and I haven't turned on any of the distortion modes. So that's clean, that's nice, I like this one. Is a little bit louder maybe? And now it's too quiet. very difficult to level match. It's a lot snappier is the UAD one on the snare specifically. Let's take a listen to the Slate Digital. So again, let's try to get about 6 dBs of gain reduction. Let's turn the output way down. Okay, that's pretty accurate in terms of the volume. Let's compare it with the Kiive. Okay, a little bit less difference. Again, a lot tighter. I'm listening to the kick. See how tight that is. And it's a lot looser, is the Xtressor. It's a lot looser and it's not as snappy. Gain reduction's the same. Settings are the same. 5, 5, 5, 5. 5 attack, 5 release. 4 to 1. 4 to 1. Okay. Now let's compare it with the let's close these down. Let's compare it with the Arouser. Again, let's go for 6 dBs of gain reduction. Oop. Looks about right. Yeah, it's relatively close. Let's take a listen. Yeah, again, it's not my favorite. Again, I prefer the Arouser. I believe the Arouser, the Slate, the FG Stress, and the Empirical Labs versions are closer together than they are with the Kiive. Again, I'm listening to that kick. It's a lot tighter as the kick. I feel like it adds a lot more low end, the Xtressor. Let's try them all, one by one. I feel like the virtual mix rack, the FG Stress, eats up the snare a bit more. Maybe it's... This is the FG Stress here. Slate Digital. It's a little bit more. That's a bit louder. I'm just gain matching by ear. Yeah, it's pretty accurate. Pretty close. I like the openness of the UAD version. So that's the Stress. Compare it with the these are very similar. Where I was in the Empirical Labs UAD version. Sorry. And then with the Kiive. Seems very muddy. to me anyway. Let's bring in the let's high pass the. Let's put a high pass on the detector circuits, and then I don't know if we can do it. Can we do it on this? Oh, yeah, detector high pass, yeah, but I don't know what's the high pass on the actual hardware unit. I'm actually unsure. But if there's a marker here, I'm assuming it's 110. I'm assuming that's like the stock standard. And then likewise for the stress. Okay, maybe now it will get rid of a bit of that because it's a high pass in the detector, so it won't pick up a lot on that low end as much. It won't detect. Let's give it a little listen. A little bit better. Still my favorite, the UED. The arouser is very, very close. I think it comes second. But I do prefer the interface of the UED one, so I guess that gives it a little bit of a boost. You know, interface, very important. I'm kidding. And then to the Slate Digital. Yeah, I think the Slate eats up a little bit of the snare, that transient, but it's still pretty clean sounding. I still think the Kiive sounds the dirtiest. Which is, it's not, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, necessarily. You could be wanting to go for that, adding a little bit of, you know, distortion to it, a little bit of more color, should I say, which is fine. Could be what you're looking for. It could be what I'm looking for in a certain sound, but I'm just comparing them here. That's all. I'm not saying whether it's, you know, bad or good. I'm just comparing it. But there seems to be a lot of more distortion and mud coming from the Kiive. Again, it could be because they sample. You know, they worked on the hardware that they emulated, the specific distressor, and you know, the circuits and whatnot, how old it was, and whether it was in, you know, I'm gonna guess it was in really, really good condition, because obviously Kiive aren't a company that would, you know, use a distressor, that hardware that's not running well. So I don't know what it is or why it's really muddy to me, but yeah, let's move on to the vocals and let's give it a try on the vocal track. But before we do that, let's have a final listen. We'll leave the high pass in on them, and then we'll use the distortion 2 module on them, distortion 2. Now on this, I don't know how. I'll just leave it as it is on 4. I won't even use the arouse, actually. We'll just leave it with the, and then distortion 2. And yeah, what distortion 2, I think according to the actual Empirical Labs manual, it's essentially adding a second order harmonic, and it's kind of like tube distortion basically, and then it's class A, you know, type warmth, but and distortion 3 is more alongside tape distortion, where it flattens out the top and the bottom a little bit more. If you want it to sound like tape saturation, basically use distortion 3. Distortion 2 is more tube type of warmth. Equally as good, but yeah, just to give you a quick explanation on what those are. I'm not, you know, completely familiar with it. I've never owned the hardware, but the geek inside me wants to know what the distortion modes are. But yeah, so distortion 2 is more of a tube type one. So we've got it enabled on them, apart from the arouser. We'll leave that last because I can't find, you know, the equivalent where it would be, because it's not the same as the other one. Sorry, the way that they've laid it out. Still really cool. It sounds great, but the interface isn't really laid out the same way. It doesn't show it has the hardware, because the hardware looks pretty much like this. Kind of looks like that. Looks a little bit like that as well. You know, like you can kind of gauge what it is, but the Empirical Labs, apart from the knobs that look the same, everything else is really, really different compared to the hardware. So can't really I can't really gauge what to hear, so we'll just leave it out. Let's take a listen with the distortion 2. So the high pass left on the detector circuit, and then distortion 2 on the distortion setting in the audio section. Yeah, a lot more, just a bit more saturation there now. Listening to that kick again. Yeah. Again, this is still my favorite, the UED. Sounds cool. Let's go to the distortion 3. Yeah, it's a lot more saturated. Again, I'm not messing around with the saturation and warmth. In a comparison, we'll turn it on just to hear what the plug sounds like in the plugin. But let's do it now. Okay, so that's just saturation. That's warmth. So it does what it says. So if it gets a little too bright in terms of the color that you're adding, you can warm it up a little bit. I guess kind of. I guess it's kind of what the Fatso does. That has the warmth kind of control, where you can warm up a signal essentially that's a little bit too harsh, perhaps, and you've got a control for that, which is pretty cool. I guess these ones, the other emulations don't have it, which is really cool. I guess they kind of brought in a little bit of the Fatso and the Distressor together, which is really, really cool. It's very advantageous. I don't think any of the other ones have it, apart from the Arouser, where you can kind of control here the amount of saturation, the frequencies, and where you want to boost or cut certain frequencies. I guess the parametric EQ, the detector sidechain, where you can kind of mess around and manipulate the signal that way. So that's the closest one that comes to it, but no one's done it like this, as far as I'm aware, which is really cool. That's a +1 for the Xtressor. I really like that feature. As well as adding oversampling. That's great. Let's turn it off and then listen to what it sounds like with oversampling off compared to on. Let's go up to 16 times. Uses a hell of a lot more CPU if you look at 50% here compared to off. I guess a good middle ground is 8 times, where it's not too taxing on the CPU. Unless you've got a really insane system. Mine was an insane system about 3 years ago, but not even 3 years ago, actually, more than that, 4 years ago. It was like the top spec of 4 years ago, but obviously because technology progresses so quick, it's not anymore. So I need to think about upgrading my production rig. But yeah, sounds pretty cool. Let's move on now to doing some of the vocals. Again, the vocals, they're mixed. Let you listen to them as they are on their own.
It is not too late. No one belongs in the Badlands.
Let's go to this chorus section here.
Sing it louder.
Cool. Let's get some of that vocal going on. So
Sing it louder. The night was our lifeline.
it's basically reset to what we had it on when we started the video with the drum. So it's 5 and 5 in the attack, 5 in the release. Everything off of the detector and audio circuits. 4:1 ratio. Again, saturation and warmth turned off. We'll mess around with that later. And 8 times oversampling. So let's take a listen. And likewise for these other ones, I believe I set these up correctly. Yep. And maybe the arouser, because I put that one in last. 5. Get that on 5 as well. As close to it as possible. Turn that down. Turn this up. 4:1. Okay, so as close as possible. We'll just need to probably just do some gain adjustments. Let's take a listen to the Kiive.
Sing it louder. The night was our lifeline.
Again, we want to do about 6 dBs.
Louder. Sing it louder.
Oh, fantastic. We put it on a bit that... Start.
Somehow it never changed. The night was our prime time. Sing it louder. Sing it louder.
It works a little bit better on vocals than it does on drums, I think. It doesn't muddy up the signal.
Somehow it never changed. The night was our prime time. Sing it louder. Sing it louder. The night was our lifeline. Sing it louder. Sing it louder. Somehow it never changed. The night was
Let's compare it with the UED.
time. Sing it louder. Sing it louder. The night was our lifeline. Sing it louder. Sing it louder.
Let's go to a verse.
Neon lights. You say you never felt better. Feeling light as a feather.
It warms up the signal a lot more, I feel, the Kiive.
It's not too late.
Sounds a lot cleaner, does the Distressor. Less kind of like saturation. The color, essentially.
Are in our own hands. I let you play this game. Somehow it never changed. The night was our prime time. Sing it louder.
Virtual mix track. Now comparing with the Kiive. So this is FG. A lot closer on vocals, less noticeable of the muddiness on the low end.
Neon lights. You say you never felt better. Feeling light as a feather.
Yeah, it's a lot cleaner as well again.
It's not too late.
Let's listen to the arouser.
We're in the Badlands. Our fates are in our own hands. Neon lights. You say you never felt, darling. Somehow it never changed. The night was our prime time. Sing it louder. Sing it louder.
Comparing it with the Kiive.
The night was our lifeline. Sing it louder. Sing it louder. Neon lights. You say you never felt as a feather. It is not too late. We don't belong in the battle.
Again, my favorite. UAD first, second is the Slate. Well, close second, to be honest, with the Arouser, and then again, it has to be the Kiive. Let's go straight to high pass in the audio. So not the detector circuit, the actual audio adds a high pass to it, and then we will enable a little bit of second order harmonics as well with the distortion too. Again, emulating kind of like a tube saturation. We'll leave Arouser out of it because again, I don't know how to kind of mess with that one. Go straight here, turn on high pass on the audio and distortion 2. Likewise with the UAD. There you go. Cool. Let's have a listen now. Between the FG Stress and the Kiive Audio.
You say you never felt better, feeling light as a feather. It is not too late. We don't belong in the Badlands. Our fates are in our own hands. I let you play this game. Change. The night was our prime time. Sing it louder, sing it louder. The night was our lifeline. Sing it louder, sing it louder.
Cool. Sounds good. The Kiive sounds good on the vocals. I like it on the vocals. Let's listen to the UAD one with the comparing it with Kiive. Start with Kiive.
You say you never felt better.
Let's just go straight to the chorus. I feel like there's more singing.
Somehow it never changed. The night was our prime time. Sing it louder, sing it louder. The night was our lifeline. Sing it louder, sing it louder.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot closer on vocals. I like it on vocals. It's pretty nice, pretty good sounding. Adds a little bit more warmth, but I think that's fine, especially for this kind of song. I feel like these vocals are a little bit on that, you know, the harsher. I won't call them harsh, the vocals, but I'll say it on the harsher side. Due to all the effects and the reverb, I guess, in the background, again, doesn't really help. But let's turn on the saturation and the warmth section at the bottom here, and let's take a listen to the vocals with that.
Somehow it never changed. The night was
Oh, okay, then too much.
prime time. Sing it louder.
Yeah, it does what it says,
Sing it
saturation.
louder.
Just add some warmth, maybe.
The night was our lifeline. Sing it louder, sing it louder. Somehow it never changed.
You can hear it there. This is off
Somehow it never changed.
and on.
Somehow it never changed.
It's a little bit warmer.
The night was our prime time. Sing it loud. Somehow it never changed.
Sorry, I had to do that. Cool. Yeah, so let's just give it a final try on the mix bus. See how it does it. You know, kind of gluing the mix together. I know this already has like mix bus compression on it, but let's just add some more. All right, so I tweaked the settings up a little bit. We're getting about 4 dBs of gain reduction ish, and it's just a compression 5 to 5, 5 on the attack, 5 on the release. I'm just not going to touch that. Nothing on the, none of the buttons clicked in on the detector or the audio circuits. So yeah, that's that. Let's take a listen one by one real quick and compare. Start off with nothing on, apart from the limiter, doing pretty much nothing at the end. It's just stopping any potential peaks. And then I'll start with the Kiive, and then we'll go to the UAD, and then we'll go to the Slate, and then Arouser. UAD. Okay, so yeah, let me know down in the comments below which one was your favorite. For me, pretty much across all of them was the UAD version of the Distressor emulation. I think it's really, really clean sounding, really nice, snappy, it's good. And then close second is the Slate Digital with their FG Stress. And then the Arouser, and then I have to say the Kiive came last for me. However, that being said, I do like the features it has. I'd probably use this, but not in the way that I would use a Distressor. I usually have a Distressor always on the parallel vocal bus or parallel mix bus or something like that. That's primarily what I'd use it for, or drums sometimes, but I mainly use the 33609 in parallel for that with the Kiive. But I reckon I'd use this for mainly this circuit at the bottom, the saturation and the warmth, and then run it in parallel probably. So I'd use it for other ways as opposed to just using it as a Distressor plugin, because I do like that it has that this saturation and warmth section at the bottom. And the fact that it's got oversampling on, which is really, really good. So yeah, let me know down in the comments below what you think of the Kiive. It's in the plugin alliance. If you pay for the subscription bundle, it's available there for you. And I think you can download a free trial if you're not subscribed, and try it out yourself and take a listen to how it sounds. But yeah, I think Kiive did a pretty good job. It's got very close to the UAD, which I believe holds king for many, many years of the the Distressor emulations. So yeah, so as you can see, guys, from the plugin doctor view, this is just the plugin stock. So default preset as it comes in, no oversampling. I will increase the GUI a little bit for you, just real quick. Yeah, and so you can see as soon as you drop it in, if I turn off, so if you leave the saturation circuit and the warm circuit on, you get like a bump about, you know, let's say a 1.2 dB bump at about 19,000. But if you turn the circuit off, flattens it right out, and you can reduce the volume. So it's pretty flat. There's a harmonic analysis for you. And if I turn the saturation circuit on, and then this is me turning it on and turning it up. See, bringing a lot of saturation. Especially those upper harmonics. And then if I turn on oversampling, so this is oversampling off 16 times. Lot cleaner. That saturation. Max out the warmth and saturation. Saturation circuit off. To detect the circuit, high passing the actual audio. See, starts to cut at around 170, goes down to 45 hertz. And interesting to actually see the distortion in the harmonic analysis. I'm trying my best to keep everything on the same screen for you guys here. Just make this a bit smaller. So that's with the saturation circuit off. Obviously, as you drive more input, you get more color and saturation, but yeah, there you have it, guys. Plugin Doctor View for those of you who are interested and who care about the the nerdiness of things. I, for one, just like to use my ears and just like to hear how the plugin sounds as opposed to how what it looks like on a chart. But yeah, I'll leave the video at that, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment down below telling me what you thought and how your experience with the Kiive Xtressor went and your opinions on it. Give the video a like and please check out the other videos on the channel. I've got some really cool series on there and other plugin shootouts, so please do make sure to go ahead in and sub and check those out. It'd be very much appreciated. So yeah, have a great day, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.